Welcome to the Unconventional Investor, where strategy, mindset, and money come together to build lasting wealth beyond the numbers. I'm your host, Michelle Moses. Welcome to part 2 of my conversation with Tessa Wardzinski about charitable giving and ways that you can incorporate it into your life. If you haven't listened to the first part of it, that is episode number 94 and was released 2 weeks ago. This is how I feel about these galas, but yeah, we can get into that.
Yeah. I have gala issues as well. Yeah.
I have major gala issues, but so let's switch. So let's switch the topic now. So because I think that's part of it is like, how do we make it fun? And so just going into the galas, I think that's how they try to get the emotional buy-in, right? Showing videos of the kids or the dog that was saved, if you're the Humane Society, walking the dogs out on the stage so that people are just like, yes, 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 let me open my wallet for you, right? Mm-hmm. So are the galas, is that kind of the point, is that it's getting those people that want the fun and the emotional buy-in?
Yeah. Galas are pretty much, I would say they're the most effective with wealthy people.
Okay.
Because they're the ones that are
their feathers fluffed.
Well, yeah, and also they gave a lot of money. I mean, I'll be frank. They gave a lot of money,
but you don't have to have your feathers fluffed at a gala in order to give a lot of money. Is my
no, and there's different ways. There's actually different ways of interacting with people that give a lot of money that doesn't require a gala. Really, honestly, you can have people come visit the office and visit, and sit in on whatever programming you're doing. Or in the case of international development, you fly people out to one of the sites that you're working to do clean water. I mean, those kinds of things. And those are cheaper than galas, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah. But, I would think so. And I think that you would get more bang for your buck because it would be kind of a 1-on-1 or 3-on-1 or however many, donors that you invited. Yeah.
But there's also, there's some publicity that some publicity gains around galas too. So it's kind of, I know why organizations keep doing them, but rest assured they're, if it's starting to go down the drain in terms of return, they'll cancel it. Yeah, they'll figure out something else. Like I said,
it's just not my thing. I mean, I'm just like, tell me your story and I'll give you money. I don't want to waste my time getting dressed up and doing that. But I'm a time person. So I'm always like, let's get to the nitty gritty. I don't even want to watch the YouTube video. I'm like, where's the nitty gritty of the YouTube video?
No, exactly. I'm the person that likes to read things and I'll watch the video. The same thing. Yeah. And it also depends on the generation that we're talking about too. People of older generations, like boomers, and they were more used to the galas. That was a thing, right? Mm-hmm. Gen X, half are, half aren't. You get down to millennials, there's no interest, So, or I should say,
they'd rather go on a walk, like a 5K.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Well, it's just something that they know doesn't cost a lot of money, and that they still get a good feeling out of. Mm-hmm. And I'm being general here. Yeah, there's obviously some people that would like a gala. Yeah, but it just kind of in generalities. This is like what we're seeing, and people are quite astute at figuring out God, we're spending a lot of money on this, and what if we just did this instead, But like I said, there are reasons that people are still holding them. I mean, I can think of one organization that makes a lot of money on them, and they're not going to stop doing them,
Yeah.
So
I'm sure. And I'm sure some people go every year, some of the donors, and they look forward to it and all that. So I'm just not one of those people. So
well, you find a different way to give, in a different way that suits you.
I do different things. So what are so let's talk about, because I already know what is fun for me in ways of giving. So like food banks and actually, I love picking up trash. I'm probably telling all my listeners way too much crap, but
I get why though. There's a beginning and an end to it. You cleared like a mile or something. I get that. I understand that.
It's fun for me. Like if we're all going to meet up and pick up trash somewhere, I'm all in. No,
it's completely understandable. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think the key is to find what you like to do. In terms of spending your time, like we're talking about time, I can tell you money in just a second, but in terms of spending your time, there's, if you want to help with the homeless, there's creating hygiene kits, there's, also, physically working at the food banks. Typically you're doing inventory and stuff like that. Occasionally you're serving at a soup kitchen or whatever. I can tell you though, honestly, with food banks, I think that giving money is the most efficient method of giving something. just because they buy their food for like pennies on the dollar,
Mm-hmm.
so they really use their money well. So that's one area where I'm like, maybe give money instead. But there's also, in terms of time, if you have a particular expertise, there are organizations that could use that expertise, depending on what it is. And I'll give you an example. When I worked at one organization, this is in the earlier days of digital, and we were just starting to get into paid media, and we really didn't. We were kind of like, okay, we need to figure out how to do this. Well, we ended up partnering with a leading digital agency that did all our paid media for us for free.
Mm.
Yeah. And what would happen is the people in the organization volunteered their time. There was like 11 people, and they would volunteer their time to do our paid media. Yeah. And it
Wow.
saved us a ton of money.
I bet.
And it taught the staff how to do it themselves too, by the way. So we started, when you start working with that, oh, this is how you do this and you do that. So there was a number of benefits to that.
So
So
then,
if you
because
have,
if you're volunteering your skills, then the people at the nonprofit are also gaining skills so that they
yeah,
can then do it on their own. So you become kind of like a teacher.
yes, yes, yeah,
Yeah.
you're training them.
Yeah.
And
Oh, that's
in
wonderful. And it's
addition to
free
saving them
for
money.
you to do that. You just have to give your time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And the thing is your time, the thing with the giving in that kind of case is it's typically during office hours. Yeah. In digital, it's a little bit different, right? Office hours are a little different. Everything is like work from home, yada, yada. There's differences. But in other kinds of expertise, you might have to be during your office hours. So you are actually giving up some of your time because those might be your work hours, So, but it can be incredibly helpful to the charity, depending on, what it is. You just have to find the right fit.
Okay. And then, are there other ways that you think that people could make giving fun? One of the ways that I was thinking about was like if you were as a family and you all picked, who to give to each year, one organization, and you just kind of like did a deep dive, like that might be fun and a
Yeah.
bonding experience.
Absolutely. And with children, I can tell you, having worked for children's organizations, children love helping other children. They
Mm-hmm.
absolutely love it. Yes, animals too. They also love helping animals. Yeah. But they
Mm-hmm.
absolutely love helping other children. And organizations like Make-A-Wish Foundation, World Wildlife Fund, this is another one. Both of them have kits, like little educational kits, and teachers use them, but you can use it as a parent too. This does not have to be in a school setting. And you go through and you look, this is what this animal is about, and this is why it's endangered, or in the case of like Make-A-Wish, it's like, hey, do you want to help try and grant a wish? This is how fundraising works. This is how budgeting works. Like there's all these elements to it that are actually great teachable, time,
Well, and it sounds
chunks
like a
of
great
time.
like if you were homeschooling your kids
Yeah.
or if you were just doing something over the summer where you were wanting to
Yeah.
teach them, it would be like a good thing to do with some of these organizations. I would imagine it'd have to be the bigger organizations that would have those kits, but yeah,
Generally.
that
Yeah.
sounds like
Yeah.
they would love it.
Yeah. No, I think it, like I said, kids really love helping other kids, and they love helping animals. Some of my biggest like smiles came from seeing kids send in a check,
Hmm.
and the little note that would say, well, what they did to raise this money. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. That is
It's a talk about
wonderful.
getting a good feeling, for somebody like me that sees these things. Well, when I used to actually, that was my job, was to like process all the gifts. It was simultaneously the most heartbreaking and most heartwarming thing to be able to see the reasons that people were giving, because very few people just sent in a check. They usually sent in a little note. Yeah. As to why
Really?
they gave. Yeah. Yeah. You would see
Which
like,
shows like how emotional it is for people.
no, giving really is, you could tell like older people, sometimes they have trouble starting to write, like their hand is a little bit shaky. So you could tell when it was an older person sending something in. And a lot of times this would come with, hey, I'm on Social Security and I don't have a lot, but I want this to be done. And it'd give you
Hmm.
like $5 or $10. Very sweet,
Hmm.
And sometimes it was a kid, like I had kids having their bar and bat mitzvahs, and they would send you like, hey, this is 30% of what I got in my haul, and they would like write you a check. It was very cute.
That's wonderful. Well, and you're teaching them too that when it comes in, you're going to pay yourself, you're going to give it away, that whole adage. Um,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and I'm not necessarily the believer that it needs to be a set amount. I think people say 10% and,
Yeah.
like stick. If my kids want to give, then they can give, and then we talk about
Yeah.
like what percentage that they want to give. And I just think it's just a really personal thing. But I do think that I just think that we need to be thinking about this. Like this needs to become a regular part of our lives rather
Mm-hmm.
than just, oh, the government's going to take care of that, because they're just not going to do that anymore. So,
Well,
um,
another way to try and make giving fun. If you are a person that's involved in sales, or a kind of person that gets bonuses, or just a very competitive person, doesn't matter what you do in work life, but you're a very competitive person, I highly recommend setting competition giving stuff up. It
ooh,
works fantastically.
love
Like
this.
if you're a stockbroker and you're with a bunch of other stockbrokers, and you're like, all right, we're going to do like, I don't know, 0.5% of what we haul in this year or something, right? And you have the leaderboard up, and this money is going to, and you pick a charity, charity A gets it, right? And this is the leaderboard. This is the person that, people love this stuff. Really competitive people, and, people that rely on bonuses and stuff. This is very motivating for them,
Hmm.
and it makes you feel good. You're like, hey, not only was I number one this year, but I donated this much money to this charity.
Right.
And it can even be competitive in the sense of you have three charities that you pick, and number one gets the most money, number two gets the second most, and third gets third most. And it depends on who wins, who earned the most
Yeah.
that year or something like
Oh,
that.
that's
I've
awesome. I
seen,
love that.
yeah, and I've seen real estate agents do this, by the way, too. We had a very successful group of real estate agents do this. So it's just kind of think of what jives with you. What do you like? Like the only time I'm ever competitive is during trivia contests. Otherwise, I have no interest in winning. I do not care, right? So
Hmm.
that sort of thing wouldn't work for me at work. And that's not why I give, right? That's not why
Hmm.
that doesn't motivate me. But it motivates so many people, and it's
Yeah.
so energizing for people,
Well,
that
and
I encourage people to look into it.
you're earning a living plus you're helping other people. So
Absolutely.
it strikes all the things. And that's why,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know that everything that giving necessarily needs to always be like completely separate. Yeah. Like, yeah, you got to like merge it into your life. And that sounds like a great way to do it.
Yeah, yeah. It's the same thing like, when you give to your friends when they're doing a walk, a 5K for cancer research or something like that, right?
Hmm.
That's motivating as well. That probably marks I was laughing about that and not being competitive. The only time I was revved up about something is I was trying to raise money for something, doing a walk. And then I was like, but I'm also a fundraiser. So, that's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, you
But,
fundraise
that's
for the
another way.
people with the layaway every year too at
Oh,
Christmas.
yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah,
if you want to,
talk about we're going on time, but I want everybody to hear about this too.
okay. So what my friends and I did, this is when we all lived in New York City. There was a group of us, and one woman started it. She used to do it by herself from the time when she lived in Chicago. When she moved into New York, same thing. And then she brought in her friends, and then we brought in more friends and more friends and more friends. And it ended up being international in scope by the end of it. And what we were doing was every year at Christmas time, about the end of the second week of December, we would go into a children's department store. It's a very lower market, okay, department store, because it's in a rather impoverished area of Brooklyn. Okay. So, there's no Walmart even in this area. This is like this kind of thing. And what we would do is we would go take the manager. He was lovely. And we would ask him, we'd say, hey, we want to pay off as many toy layaways as we can for Christmas. And that is what we would do. And
So
it
you would
started off
raise money.
small.
So she
Yeah.
essentially like sent an email out to all of us on Facebook and posted it
Yeah.
on all these places, and then we would send the money to you, and then you
Yeah.
would go to the store and pay off the
And pay him off.
layaway. And
Yeah.
then you took pictures of the people discovering that their stuff was paid off.
Yeah. So we would get lucky sometimes, and we would have people like going there to pay it at the time, to see. And we would have pictures of them like going, oh my God, like, wow. Or, there's one woman who was
Mhm.
crying. It's one of my favorite pictures because she was so touched that somebody thought of her.
Mhm.
And mind you, her toy, I remember it was like $20 or something. We're not talking like a lot. Yeah. This was, lower market stuff. And, she was just so touched. And we also had another man, this is my favorite one, where we watched him, and we were from far away. We weren't like right in front of him. Yeah. But we watched him go from like disbelief to like just stunned to, super happy. And that man paid off somebody else's toy layaway.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
So it's like at Starbucks, people paying it forward or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it was something we did every year. And it just got bigger and bigger and bigger to the point where there was one year during the height of the pandemic, 2020, we raised so much money that we actually paid off all the toy layaways for every single store in New York City, in all the boroughs. There was like 6 of them at the time. Yeah. So, and we also, unfortunately, I don't live there anymore, so I can't really physically do this anymore. But we did have somebody come forward recently that was like, hey, if you're willing to still do this, I will match the gifts that you raise. And, we were raising like on average about $3,000-$4,000 a year. So this is not a small gift. And this is not, he can't take this off his taxes. It's not, it's not going to a 501c3,
yeah, he's just giving it. Yeah. That's awesome.
They're just giving it. But this is the kind of feeling you want, right? This is the kind of feeling you want from your gift, that you've really helped somebody.
And which is why I was saying every day that the surprise. And I think it just makes everybody feel good. And especially when we're all running around all angry and, I have to be this here and this here, that we need to remember about like the highest high in life is feeling connected to other people and feeling loved and loving. And that is what everybody wants around the world. That's all anybody wants is to be loved and to love. And that's originally why I went to school, was I wanted to help people understand each other and talk to each other.
Great.
And then here I am with what I do. But anyway, so let's wrap this up. I've got one last question for you. So what did you learn about online giving that most people don't realize?
Okay. So I have as a digital marketer, I have about 3 seconds, maybe 5, for you to click that donate button.
Wow.
That's it? Yep. You land on my homepage. In a lot of places, if you don't find it within 3 seconds, they move. They leave. Some places up to 5, but that's still nothing. Yeah.
Dang, that is nothing. So it needs to be like right there.
Yeah. When I tell you that we test usability constantly, we test it constantly. This is why.
Wow.
Because people, I used to say this till I was blue in the face to different offices that I was working with around the world. You never want to make it difficult for people to give you money.
No.
That's
the simplest thing. Yeah, you shouldn't be searching for where to donate and how to donate or anything.
No.
Yeah. Or if it's like donate your money, donate your time. Yeah. It needs to be like all spelled out.
As simple as possible.
I'm like, oh, donate your time, like maybe I can do something here or, whatever.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, Tessa, thank you so much for being on. This has been really fun to talk about, and I appreciate you taking the time to do this and share all of your knowledge with everybody.
Oh, I love doing it. And if I can plug something really quickly, So I'm not associated with this organization. I did some work for them a few years ago, but I'm not associated with them anymore. But there's a book. I don't know if you can see it. I'm trying to put it in front of me here. But,
lift it up a little bit. There you go.
That better?
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. It's called The Life You Can Save by Peter Singer. He's a philosopher and, he's also it's all about effective altruism, particularly if you're wealthy and you're trying to get into international development and figure out where's a great place you can make an impact. I think it's a great start, that book.
Okay.
It talks about where your money really, really works, and I've got tons of organizations off the top of my head that I could tell you about that do that. But I think for people, outside of their own country, it's difficult for them to sometimes think about where should I put my money? And this is a great book about thinking in that capacity. Given that I'm giving 5, 6, 7 figures, where's the best place to put this? Where will my money go the furthest? Yeah.
And what's it called again?
The Life You Can Save. And it's by Peter Singer. He's the famous, the guy who did the trolley question, like if an out of control trolley is headed down the tracks and you have the capability to steer it, which direction do you steer it? Towards one person that you know or towards a bunch of people that you don't know?
Oh God. I've never heard
that. Yeah. That's a whole thing.
Think about that. Okay. Well, we'll put the book in the show notes. So, you guys, if you want to pick that up, and I can put Tessa's information in there too, or if you want to reach her, just reach out to me. 'Cause Tessa is a wealth of knowledge. Obviously, she's worked for some very, very large organizations around the world. So I feel very lucky that you were my friend and we get to talk about all this stuff all the time. So
same. I'm so glad you brought this topic up. And yeah, anybody wants any information on a particular organization or whatever, I'm happy to discuss it.
Very helpful.
I love that people want to give. I think it's great. It's the deepest part of humanity to me. When you're giving to someone and it doesn't have any direct benefit to you whatsoever. This isn't a family gift,
Yeah, you're just making your day.
Yeah, and you may never see these people. You may never know these people, but you change their lives.
I know.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of times when I have something to sell, I'll sell it for super cheap just because I want to make their day. Here's $5, $10,
Get a discount. Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to make their day. Like, so then somebody will be like, oh, I like that, whatever. And they'll be like, I only paid $10 for it. Sweet. I'm all about doing that. So anyway, okay. Well, thank you, Tessa. You guys, thank you so much for listening. Let me know if you have any questions. Don't forget to leave a review. It helps me to reach other people. And I hope you have a wonderful day. And thank you so much. Thank you for listening to the Unconventional Investor Podcast. I hope you feel more confident in how you can grow your wealth using the strategies I shared in this episode. If you're ready to take the next step in diversifying your portfolio outside the stock market with alternative investments, head to mefinancial.net/contact us to book a 15-minute consult call with me. Let's discuss how we can work together to achieve your financial goals. Until then, I'll see you on the next episode.